very sad way. I don't get to catch Olimoleague a lot of the time because this sort of time zone, I just sort of, because Olimoleague's always been on this Tuesday sort of time zone, I've always sort of taken a moment and said, you know what, I'll take the Tuesdays as kind of like my Tuesday daytime as my general day off, and my general day to go and do things, maybe have lunch with the family, for example, that kind of stuff. Because I'm never going to cast over Olimoleague. I'm never going to run an event there, or very rarely I am. So I actually don't get to watch Olimoleague as much, but haven't started to cast the replays, I've been able to watch a little bit more of it. Let's kick this off though with TY versus MC. To the bottom right, our blue Protoss MC, of course, and the top left, the red Terran player TY. A round of 12 performance for him over in IEM Katowice this past weekend. Obviously pretty good, not bad, but still would have liked a little bit more. Still not quite that past performance of 2017 when he finished in first place, of course, running home with the title. Don't think TY played bad. Solo played pretty well. The player who knocked him out. And in general, you know, TY, I think, bouncing back. He's going to look strong in GSL this season. It'll be very exciting to see how he continues to do there as GSL is kicking off again in a couple of days, everyone. Get excited. Initial probe just running around here from MC as the SCV is going chasing. Reaper popping out from TY, looking to open up in towards an expansion in the next few moments. So the Simon X core is dropping in from MC. Obviously, he expands pretty regularly as well. Nothing to really shout about for the first 2 minutes here, as we just wait to see what the tech choices are going to be when the Cybercore finishes. Seen a lot more kind of Robo first, Twilight first plays lately than the Stargate in PvT especially. So whether that's going to be a Blink, whether it's going to be a fast Prism and some aggression, there's a lot of different possibilities, as we do have this probe coming in through the top side. And it is just going to be hiding away, although the Reaper looks as though it's got a rough idea as to the fact it's up here somewhere. It's checking behind the minerals on the left, but not on the right, so MC keeps the probe alive, and the Reaper will move away. So that probe left to its own device as well. This SCV has already scouted the natural expansions. The Reaper is not in a rush to go over and to get further information just yet. It will be soon, and as it heads over now, we are going to end up seeing that Stargate from MC. Well, the Stargate does give you a few different possibilities in how you open. The Oracle play obviously is pretty generic and a good way to get map control, harass, and so on. But we've seen a couple of players here and there have been going into a few Phoenix right from the start, and you know, even if you go into Oracles, then a Phoenix follow-up, because the Phoenix are just so good at dealing with that early game pressure, and they really lead you very strongly into the mid game as you deal damage again and again to those mineral lines of your opponents. Reaper just hanging around on the bottom side. There's a Adept moving up the ramp, is going to deal a couple shots to the supply depot. A couple more Marines about to pop out as well. Wouldn't mind the factory and the starport just over halfway done. The Marines will actually allow the Adept in, get some damage onto it. The Adept will just cancel. Just looking for information here. Sees the factory doesn't have a tech lab, for example. Sees the starport right next to it. You know, it gives you a little bit of information as to what this is potentially going to be as a follow-up. And there is already a Viking on the way, so the scout here of the Stargate is good from TY. That Reaper's been jumping in while we've been watching the Adept on the other side. So with the scout on the Stargate, very good information, and immediately goes into the Viking. And this is a very defensive opening, but it's a very solid opening against the Stargate, because it should mean you take no damage at all, and that should really power you up for the next few moments of the game after this. There's a Widowmine now covering each mineral line. There's Marines on the ramp. There's this Viking out in the main. This Oracle isn't really looking good to get any damage done, even with 2 more Adepts showing up. I'm not really convinced as the Oracle's going to fly in. Widowmine's going to get that kill instantly. Ooh, SCVs take a lot of damage though. They get behind the Marines, which means you're probably not going to see the Adepts able to pick any of them up. Viking will land just to get some extra damage out, and might make that 2 Adept kills rather than just a single one, and that will be the case. Oh no! Just didn't step ahead at the last moment there, and the Adept survive. Okay, well, still, the Oracle and the Adept for some damage on the SCVs that didn't kill them. I think you take that most days as the Terran player, so I think TY will be pretty happy with his initial defense here. There's been some hyper-aggression from MC though. 5 extra gates already. I mean, I guess he's going up into that third base, but so many gateways. It's only 2 gases, no natural gases. So it definitely feels like something aggressive, despite even a third base coming up. It feels like he definitely wants to attack. Probably, I'd imagine, like a Resonant Enclaves. That, or I'm trying to think what else he could do. I mean, Blink 7 gates on 2 gases. Okay, he's going to go for it. I guess he's going to add another gas on here in a moment. I was just thinking glaives because we saw these earlier depths as well, and they're generally very good at hitting those kind of big gate timings, although maybe would have wanted to go from that off the bat rather than opening with the Stargate into it. The Blink has a bit more longevity and a bit more sort of I can survive through, as we're actually just going to see more probes anyway, so MC is going to start saturating the third base, and that means we are going to see him taking gases on the natural as well, so not going to commit fully to the aggressive attack that I thought was maybe coming with the 6 gateways already established here. Nice Liberator. Forces the probes away and just unsieges, goes back to the main base. And Tia, you can see already MC making a bit of a mistake in terms of fixing his gas here. Liberator sieges up and the Stalker's taking some shots again. At this point the Liberator's just going to trade, gets the Stalker, and again some more mining time lost as the probes had to pull away from the mineral line to make sure they didn't take too many losses. Again, there's a couple of steps just hanging around. We do see the medevacs from TY loading up and heading down the left-hand side. So a little bit of a drop play from TY as MC is moving forwards. Again, he is still very aggressive. I mean, there's no follow-up, right? There's still no robo facility, for example. It is still just this Twilight Council Blink and Stalkers. So, again, he's going to start charge up now. There's a drop in the main base. It just still feels like MC kind of needs to do something with this opener. UCTY has actually dropped before Stim is ready, so he's not able to Stim after those Stalkers, which would have probably gone pretty well for him. Meanwhile, Marines go wandering in towards the third base mineral line as well. There's a Viking over there that just got dealt with as we see these Marines fighting. We're about to have Stim in a moment. I think just about as the Stalkers are going to force them away. This is still 13 probes still because the entire third base is just getting destroyed by these couple Widow Mines and the Marines. I mean, he's going to go for a Stalker kickoff here as well. Blink just a moment too late from MC. And I mean, with the Widow Mines, you're just going to be seeing the Phoenix getting blown up. There's going to be an Adept here blown up as well. Stalkers will blink in to chase down those Marines, but 17 workers killed. The drop is back in the main base because, well, one of the medevacs survived, and it was the medevac with Marines inside. And so you can just stim straight into this again and get even more damage done. Pylon would be great on Power 4 gateways, especially with MC heading across the map, although that said, he doesn't have anything to reinforce with across the map. And watch these Marines fight, but there is going to be a little bit of a skirmish on the other side. Widow Mines going off, Bio pushing down. Stalker's still trying to fight this here. On the other side, finally, those Marines getting dealt with. It's another 17 probe losses. TY knows he can give up some SCVs here. As long as he survives, he is going to be in a good position and does give up 4. And that's all it's going to take for the moment. I feel like this force field maybe even hurting MC in a way. I don't know. I mean, I guess he doesn't have Zealots. I just felt like he also can't push up this ramp, but that might also be the Widow Mine and the supply depot wall off. But it's not a complete wall if it does choke up those Stalkers if they want to get up here. It's a very narrow ramp in the first place anyway, so I think TY is really going to be able to hold his own here. And it doesn't look as though MC is really going to be able to break it. Bio picking off even more of these Stalkers, so a lot more damage being done. The Sentry goes down as well. And actually, again, just the Marauder damage is so crazy good here. There's no Blink to save that Stalker, which is super low HP, so the Marauder chase is good to get that kill. A couple more Widow Mines on the way out from TY. +1 armor coming through, going to be 1-1 very shortly. 2 Forges coming down in the natural expansion as we do see Zealot, Sentry, Stalker, all gathering up. I mean, more and more gateway units, but that's the issue. It's gateway units. They don't have any upgrades apart from the Twilight upgrades, right? The Forges are only just now building. There's no splash damage or further tech to aid with these at all. In fact, there's just nothing going on here that really looks too positive for MC. Just felt like he really built into an aggressive setup that didn't really ever feel as though it was aggressive. I mean, obviously he got aggressive just now, counter-attacking across the map, but it feels as though that was more forced by the fact that, you know, TY was killing so many probes already. Fire pulling back a little bit. Zealot's going to keep on charging through. Widowmine is going to clean up those last couple of Zealots. I'm surprised at TY's reluctance to keep pressing forwards. I really feel like he's definitely had moments where he can fight this very easily, especially right then. Like, the Zealot numbers were down, he can just jump on the Stalkers, surely. And I mean, now he's pulled himself back through a choke point. It's going to be difficult for him to get forwards there again, to get back on top of that army. We'll see a couple of Widow Mines coming out from TY, a couple of Liberators building as well. And we do see TY throwing up those Widow Mines, setting them up in the front. As we're going to be seeing rocks on either side getting picked away at. So those rocks going to go down. On the far right, a scan drops from TY and does have a look to see. Okay, there's some probes mining away here. TY's Bio Having taken down the rocks, is ready to keep advancing forwards if it wants to, but not going to just yet. Finally, 1-1 upgrade start from MC, as he has just Blink and Charge again up until this point to help him out. He goes into the main base expecting a drop, but I mean, there's just a large push coming through the center, so MC probably going to have to blink those Stalkers into position. Wondermine's already coming down between the Nats and the third. Very preemptive force fields. With Liberators here as well, they can already bully back this army up the ramp. And so the Liberator needs to actually get sieged up. It takes a little while. It's a bit of a mistake from TY, but at the end of the day, he's just going to push through. Some SCVs pulled in with this as well from TY. He knows it's well enough to end the game. He should end it in style. And it's going to be TY picking up map number 1 of this best of 3. Innovation. Obviously, it kind of depends on what the schedule is looking like here. We will try our best, because trust me, it's a game I would love to see. Bottom right hand side, our red Terran player. This is going to be TY. And the top left hand side, we've got our blue Protoss player, MC. How come the bracket changed? I think someone just pulled out, and so because it's based on a seeding or ranking, the bracket does change if someone pulls out. You don't just put the replacement in where someone dropped. You advance people forward who are behind the player who dropped out in the rankings. So that's why some of the matches did change up in terms of their order today. And as you do just see pros being chrono boosted out, but there's a bigger story at play here. TY opens up with this proxied racks over on the left hand side of the map. So TY already opening for the aggression. With a couple of gases already dropping down the main base as a follow-up, of course, there will be not only the Reaper proxy, but also a factory as a follow-up. Maybe on the map, maybe back at home. A couple of different possibilities there. And as you do see that probe just moving around a little bit to see just what's going on as this gateway comes up in the main base. Thank you so much, Anonymous Cheerers, for the couple of bits, and then Mutter SC2 coming in with the 100 bits twice in a row. I mean, that's 200 in total. I trying to save myself from the misspeak there, and I feel like I just massacred it, so apologies. Thank you so much for the 200 bits though, much appreciated. Thank you. Slamming X core dropping down from MC. Obviously he knows that this is a proxy. He saw no barracks in the main base. He's just double checking the corners on this side of the map just to make sure it isn't hidden away and trying to play some trick on him. It is not though, and he does opt not to expand here, MC. He opts instead for a very fast Stalker, so some players will still nowadays just say, you know what, okay, I'm just going to go straight up into my expansion. I'll deal with the Reaper however I deal with it, but that's definitely not the case over here, as TY actually sent his first Reaper back home, but it has completely missed the probe, which I believe it's hunting for. This probe has moved away up the left side. And that might just be a case of TY sees, okay, you didn't expand at all, not just yet. There's not really much my Reaper can do. I don't want to spend the money investing into a second Reaper, so I'm just going to send my Reaper home, hunt down a probe, and just kind of make this a very standard opening with my barracks obviously out on the map. My factory is a bit later than usual as well, sure. Obviously it's not standard, but it kind of leads into a very standardized position where you've got that Reaper to scout with, the factory to defend with. As we do see, the Reaper just going to hop up in towards the main base and is going to be able to pick away at these probes. So very nearly picks up one probe kill, doesn't quite get there though, and Reaper does now end up pushed away out over to the right hand side. Am I going to cast all the next Olimoleagues or just this one? I'm only filling in for Maynard today because I believe he's still traveling back from Katowice. So I'm just filling in today, although I do generally tend to cast a lot of Olimoleague replays on my YouTube, so if you're ever interested in watching Olimoleague VODs with my casting on them, I usually cast them throughout the week after they've been played and put them up on YouTube as YouTube exclusive casts, because they're some of the best replays I can get my hands on, and you can too. Patreon.com/Olimoleague. Sorry, Olimoleague. I always get this wrong. But if you go to !Olimoleague in the chat, I made a command, you can get the link to the Patreon, and every little bit of support does help. So do go and check that out on the Patreon page and support the Olimoleague. We do not want this tournament to stop. All the money you put into it just goes into more and more money supporting the players and supporting the scene. A couple of gateways continuing up then in the main base, and MC does just have this Stargate up. Heading down the left hand side and going to be approaching the main very, very shortly. A Phoenix follow-up as well, a couple of them already actually, so maybe seeing a few of these here throughout this game. As this Oracle is going to want to dive straight into that main base very soon, so going straight in towards the main. Oracle shows up, and well, another SCV also building. Cyclone locks on towards that Oracle as well. Oracle taking quite a few hits, and actually it's not going to be able to get away. Cyclone with a big pickup. Only a revelation out of the first Oracle from MC, and again, TY seems to just hold off this early game pressure with no issue at all. He doesn't seem to be bothered at all. He seems to be very happy, very content. As we are going to be seeing this Reaper just backing away to the right side. Still around and still looking for information, looking for the third base timing, looking to jump into the main and see the continued attack, but he will not get there. Finally denied. Robotics facility from MC in the main base. So the transition starts up, but again, it definitely looks good for TY in these early stages. You're on the 3 racks now, the reactive starports, the medevacs can come out in plenty numbers. And it really gets to this point where I think TY looks at this game and says, okay, well, I'm really liking my position. And MC, what is he going to do about that? Well, the Phoenix could maybe pick up a couple of medevacs, and that would be big. The Phoenix can make some plays here. I mean, maybe if they defend and come across the map and harass, push MC into a bit of a lead in that regard. If the Phoenix were already across the map here, they could have maybe picked up a few SCVs, but maybe afraid of Widow Mines, etc. Also maybe afraid of just that drop coming in, thinking, well, I do need something back at home to defend. This time there is going to be Stimpack already on these bio units. We'll see if TY does load up. He pulls to the corner, which kind of suggests maybe he wants to load up and then just fly across nice and quick, but down to the low ground. Looks like we might be waiting for combat shields and just one larger push here as we see siege tank production has started up. So maybe TY just waits to go with a couple of tanks. As he does scan, he sees the double forges, and he actually had the scan there to see them finishing, so knows those upgrades have only just started in the last few moments. TY kind of has a rough idea what he's playing against. We'll know now he's got an upgrade lead, so pressing forwards, TY will look to see if he can take advantage with that. 2 more medevacs would be nice to join up with this army just so he can make sure to lift everything if he gets into some trouble, although I suppose with the... well, I guess there's no blink, right? It's just straight to Robobay this time around. That's something we're seeing more and more of as well. Skipping the Twilight Council, going double forge in Robobay and building Colossus. I'm really not sure how much I like it though, because I feel like so often we just see the lack of blink and the lack of charge really seems to just add up and be so painful for the Protoss player that they really struggle to then deal with these attacks from the Terran. And that can obviously be a little bit of a problem as the Observer just checks what's happening in the main base. Very shortly we'll see the 4th and 5th racks coming down rather than a 3rd command center. And again, that starts to tick the boxes from MC saying, okay, well actually this looks like a lot of aggression. This is not going to be a macro play. MC is just out on 2 bases though, and it'll be difficult for TY to really do a lot pushing into Colossus through this choke point. Although there's only 1 Colossus, and maybe just some sort of play where you play some sort of elevator style here. Marine stimming forwards already. I mean, tanks can support from the low ground. Tanks will see just that Colossus kind of on its own for the moment, already losing its shields. It's kind of painful. Combat shields is completed. And tanks getting into the Colossus, that would be amazing. There's only 2 Marauders which have that little bit of extra range. Right now the tank's not quite in range. Just that 1 pylon that's gone down here so far, as we are going to be seeing another Colossus about to pop out. The 1 upgrade's finishing, the extended thermal land's coming in soon, and the charge just about halfway done. Extra pylons continue to build, and then TY just decides, okay, 3rd base, get my next starport down as well. The extra starport big because it allows us to go into a lot of Vikings here. So we are going to be seeing MC coming out and we're going to be able to push this away. Scan comes down, able to pick off that Observer. And TY again backing away. 3rd CC finishes, but again it was late. 8.5 minutes to finish it up here. The drop comes into the natural. MC is not going to want to chase that drop on the right hand side anymore, as this drop's actually picking up all of the Stalkers. Medevac then loads up and backs away. Oh man, MC just getting pulled around a little bit. I don't mind his build when you go for these fast Colossus and double upgrades. Yes, okay, you're probably actually... it's one of the rare times you actually take a 3rd base slower than the Terran. But it still needs to start soon, right? At some point. Right now it still hasn't started, and it feels as though it is getting to be a little bit too late. It's just everything in this game just went a little bit in favor of TY, from shutting down the early Oracle through to, you know, the drops seem to be successful. He gets into good positions. He hasn't done massive damage, but he's been able to pick off a few of the Phoenix, for example, and in general he's just traded well off of a good opening, the strong opening. And TY is now 6 workers up with the mules on his side, 3 bases against 2. He is absolutely in the driving seat of this game 2 right now, looking to advance through to the semi-finals of our Olimoleague February monthly finals. As TY pressing forward, a couple of Marines going to lead the charge. Vikings coming up behind it. They scan on top of the army, as we're going to see Colossus, Sentries, and Zealots all hanging out on that natural expansion. 2 Marines still continuing to stim forwards here. They're going to move all the way up into the third base. Some extra Zealots finishing warping in. The Vikings just looking to position themselves so they can get some shots on the Colossus without units being able to get too much on them, although there isn't any Stalkers in this, so okay, there we go. A few Stalkers showing up now as the Vikings make themselves known. Already First Colossus taking a lot of damage. The Bio at the back was just hanging around for a little while, staying away from the Colossus lasers. The Zealots start charging in. The force fields are just a little bit lackluster. I mean, the Zealots are already dead, so it doesn't really block units in at all. And TY will just overwhelm to take down MC here in game number 2 and in the series. TY advances through to the semi-finals.